Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this interview I'm doing with my friend Chrissy today. And we're going to be talking about chronic pain. She has quite the story, and you will be amazed at just hearing her results and where she's at now, where she came from. And I know that if you are struggling with chronic pain, or you know someone that is, you will want to share this with them. So many people need to hear this, and it's just so heartwarming to hear the whole before and after, and just seeing how much Chrissy's life has improved. So yeah, Chrissy, thank you for coming on today, and I'm just gonna let you share here. Tell us a little bit, like, well, how does this whole chronic pain situation happened, and then from then to now, and what did you do?
Awesome. Well, first, thanks for inviting me to do this with you because I feel like my story could really help a lot of people out there. So I'm really glad that I get to do this with you. The beginning of my story really started back in 2017 when I was in a motor vehicle accident. And shortly after that accident, I started having seizures, and we didn't know why. So during the process of trying to figure that out, we also discovered that I had some I had a concussion, and so I'm still suffering. You might notice that I pause a little bit because I still struggle a little bit because I do deal with post concussion syndrome as well. However, for the most part, I did end up with a spinal injury as well in my C spine, and we figured that's where the seizures are stemming from. So I was put on a concoction of medications, trying to figure out which one was going to best suit what I was going through to deal with that. I also went through a pain management clinic as well, and at first, to be honest, I was a little bit scared, and because I just really didn't know what to expect. I'd never really been on heavy medications before. It was mainly like over-the-counter stuff that I used, and so we had to go through like this 8-page waiver that this was just a band-aid solution and it wasn't going to fix or heal me. We were just basically trying to control the level of pain that I was in. Which, okay, at that point, I was suffering pretty bad. So at that point, like anything was good, right? So I started with nerve block injections, and then after a couple months, they stopped working. They weren't benefiting me at all anymore. So then we went into some narcotic use, and we started off with low doses. I tried one, and eventually that stopped working. So we started with a breakthrough medication to help on top of that. And then that one was making me really sick. So I wasn't feeling very well on that. I actually had some really bad, like, rage and aggression, and for my family to see that, like, it really took a toll. And as the person on the other side taking those medications, like, I didn't see that anything was wrong with it at all. I'm like, you guys are the ones that are whatever, and I felt really bad because for me a lot, and he really stuck through things, and I was very appreciative for that. So going through that, I ended up off those medications, and we started on a different one. I'm not going to name the names of the meds, but they were pretty. I got up to quite a significant dose before they wanted to switch me to one that was even stronger. And I'm just glad that I had the strength at that time to say, no, I have to draw the line here because I know what happens after that point. I struggled a lot getting off the medications. I can't say that I was actually addicted to it because it was more of like a personal dependency. But there was some type of it, right? And I can only imagine what other people go through, right? Because if I didn't have the support system that I did, I probably wouldn't be any better off, right?
What was it
Um,
like if you didn't, like, let's say you didn't take it, like, were you bedridden? Like, how badly
yeah.
did you need this?
I would say I spent most of my time leading up to getting onto the narcotic medications. I was pretty much sleeping most of the day. Very limited periods of time was I able to actually be in an upright position because it caused so much compression on my neck, and I would have seizures.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, then I actually lost my driver's license in 2018. The end of 2017, December 2017, I lost my driver's license. And later in 2018, my aunt was asked to host a doTERRA class. At the time, I didn't have a driver's license and I felt bad. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll come to your show. I'm like, but don't ask me to buy anything. Please don't ask me to buy anything. At that time, we were like, I was still waiting for income replacement benefits through the insurance company. So I literally had like no money. I had $300 left on my credit card, and that was to get me by until whenever they decided to pay me. So yeah, so then she offered me a bottle of Copaiba, 15 ml bottle. She goes, Chris, you got to try this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I kind of felt a little trapped because she picked me up. I didn't have a way out. So I went, she picked me up, and the person that was doing the class talked so much like to me about what I was going through, and she explained a lot of the products that would help me out, and I gave it a try, and for the first time in 5 years, I'm medication free today.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
amazing.
it is. It is. I cried so much the other day because I was like, I cannot believe that I am finally free, that I'm free. I've learned how to manage my stuff like all through natural products.
Mm-hmm. So what were the steps? Because that was not all at once, right? Like, what are the first things that
No.
you introduced? So Copaiba was your first
Yeah,
gateway.
Copacetic, you can say that was my gateway oil. Yeah, so that was my gateway. And then moving forward from there, actually the person that was doing the class, Sherry, was actually doing Diamond Club at the time, and she did this class. And she offered me a rollerball because I was really skeptical and hesitant of like trying anything. And we were doing the peppermint challenge, as we all do in our classes now. And I told her that day I just had nerve block injections done. I said, I'm not putting that on me. Like I just had like 17 needles jabbed into my back of my head. So she made me a roller ball, and it had Siberian fir, lemongrass, wintergreen, copaiba, and frankincense, I believe, in it. And I put that on the next day. She said, just try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know, like at least you can say that you tried, right? Even if it's just a little bit of relief. I tried it the next day and I was obsessed. I was absolutely obsessed. Yeah, because I was so blown away that I actually had relief. And it started doing more for me than what my nerve blocks were doing. So, yeah, so I was super impressed.
Incredible.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you just apply it on the back of your neck?
Yeah, so I did it up the spine, so right up to the base of the skull I did it, and then right down the C-spine, right to T1 I did. Yeah. So I started with that, and then I purchased the top 10 oils kit, and I also bought our lifelong vitality supplements as well. So that was my entrance into it. So I started with the vitamins. I would say maybe like a month or so. I didn't really start right away because I was like, I don't know. And then I tried them, and excuse me, they were phenomenal. They were absolutely phenomenal. Like I wasn't sleeping as much through the day. The pain was slightly decreased. Like obviously it was still there and I still struggled a bit. And then I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to mix these together. I'm going to mix these together. And then Deep Blue became my next favorite oil. And then Aroma Touch was my next favorite oil. And then I just kept adding and adding and adding from there. And it was trial and error. We have some really, really great resources. So I used our, I call it the oil Bible. I don't even know the name of it anymore. Essential Life.
Essential Life?
Yeah. So that, and yeah, I started with that one, and I just researched the properties and how they work together. And then I found some groups, and I just kind of tailored things to how I needed them. Yeah.
So if you did an essential oil class today and someone like you was in the class, what would you recommend them to start with? Because you've done a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error, I would have to say, because we've come a long way. And everybody's different. Everybody's chemistry is different, so it really depends on what they're going through. I would say the basics definitely are lifelong vitality. That's first and foremost. And now we have the glory of, excuse me, um, we have the beauty of the customizable kits now, right?
Right.
So with the customizable kits, I would say definitely to get the lifelong vitality, to start with that. Copaiba for sure. I would say the turmeric dual chamber capsules, which are these guys here.
Yep.
I kind of have my little lineup here. Are deep blue polyphenols. These have helped me tremendously. We also, I would recommend the Copaiba soft gels. Or if somebody doesn't mind like putting veggie caps together, I started off with a great capsule blend. I had frankincense, DDR prime, lemongrass, black pepper, and yarrow palm.
Okay.
And yeah, those really took the edge off in the beginning. So I started
That's a
kind of
very
playing around with those.
anti-inflammatory blend.
Very,
Yeah.
very, yeah, yeah. And then I would say to follow up with that, I would say to stay consistent with the supplements, because those are all like are really good anti-inflammatory properties in those. And it helps like reduce oxidative stress and free radicals in the body. We want to make sure that we got those under control as well. Definitely eating cleaner. I was not the best eater before I started using this stuff. And the more you learn, like the more you understand, you're able to eat accordingly. So you want to make sure that you're limiting anti-inflammatory foods as well, or inflammatory foods as well. And balance every day. Balance and frankincense are like my go-tos. Even getting off the medications, because getting off narcotic medications was not easy. Like my life was a living hell. Like it was awful. I was up, I had shakes, I couldn't sleep, I was crying, I was angry, I was walking in the middle of the night. It was really, really bad.
How long did it last?
That lasted, I would say, like the physical withdrawal, like the physical symptoms lasted maybe 5 months. Like
Oh, wow.
it's really such a process to go through. But balanced frankincense and cypress actually really got me through that, because I had like restless leg syndrome, like going through that too. Like I had the shakes and stuff. But that really helped like calm me down. And then I would say the mental and emotional part of it, from start to finish, was probably about a year and a half, trying to get through that.
And how did the adaptive capsule come in? Because that was our last discussion when
Yeah,
you're like, I'm med free.
I agree. So the medication that I was taking is actually similarly formulated to the capsule, to the adaptive. So they both have the same amino acid in it. So I recently spoke with a pharmacist and I had asked, is it possible to, like, what is the difference between the two? Is if it's a close enough similarity where I can swap one out for the other, like what can I do? And obviously I had to go under advisement from the pharmacist and from my doctor, because I've been on it for a significant amount of time. She said because it's made with the same amino, she said I may have had some issues pain wise, like that inflammation may come up, but I've been doing such a great job like taking care of that anyways. But she said they're literally the same thing. They're basically the same thing. So I've been about a week, just over a week now off my medication and solely on the adaptive capsules and just continuing with the vitamins and the other supplements. And I feel amazing. I feel the best that I ever had. Like I hate to say it, but I feel like in my situation that the medication was actually working against me slightly.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the adaptive capsule, I mean, they're formulated for anxiety. So how did you think, like this could help with pain as well?
So the difference between the prescription medication, the way that it was formulated, is it's actually called a GABA analog. So the GABA analog versus GABA on its own, one is blocking the nerve receptors and the neurotransmitters in that part of the brain, where the adaptive capsules, what they're doing is they're helping your body naturally create the calming effects on your own instead of having it synthetically done where it's just shutting you down.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the case with pretty much every approach naturally, as we want to support the natural body processes rather than taking over and giving synthetics
Absolutely.
instead. Like, here you go. Let's just flood your brain with fake neurotransmitter and then cause inability to produce them naturally.
Absolutely. And speaking on that, like the one thing that triggered me to even ask my pharmacist was I looked up something and it came up under a Cleveland Clinic, and then another site where it says that they don't even know really what the difference is. They just know that both of them sort of do the same thing. So I was like, well, why aren't we promoting more of the natural aminos to help us produce our own stuff instead of synthetically, right? So yeah, so if I had to say anything to anybody about that, is to be more aware of your own health. Ask the questions. No question is silly.
Yeah, that was some pretty good advocating for yourself that you did there. Nobody would have said, hey, here, Chrissy, you can use this instead, right?
No. And to think, on the same hand, like I think of all those medications, and I'm glad that I was doing the detoxing every so often, like through it as well, because I know the toll of what those medications can do on all your body systems, right? Especially your endocrine system. So most of the stuff that I was taking is really, really hard on your liver and kidneys, right?
Yeah. And I know one of the things that we get asked often when we say, okay, like LLV, deep blue polyphenol, turmeric, and then all the oils, it's like, okay, what dosage? How much of each day? So I don't know if you could maybe send me that so we can attach it to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, it's wise as well to know that all of our bodies are, function differently. We all have different body chemistry. There's some things that just are the same, but you might want to adjust to how your body not reacts to it, but like how your body takes to it. Maybe Chrissy takes 4 turmeric, but maybe you need to. Like, there's no hard fast rule.
No, definitely. And honestly, because we have such high quality products, it's very important to understand that less is more. Never go in, especially somebody that has a really hard system, like how mine was in the beginning, right? And Boyd Truman talks about it too when he talks about Symphony of the Cell. And that's another thing that I did too that I highly recommend, is that anybody that is going through chronic pain or inflammation or chronic illness is to really get that Symphony of the Cells book, because that really helps a lot. And he even says, start with the inflammatory application first and foremost, and less drops is more. So the more ill you are, you want to start with less and let it work. And just do it more frequently. So if you do like 1 or 2 drops of each oil and then do it like 2 or 3 times a week, that's always the best way to start.
Okay, that's really great advice. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Well, congratulations on being med-free.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
That's awesome. Anything else you would like to add before we end this amazing interview?
I would just say, to anybody out there, pay attention to your body. Go with your gut instinct. And if you think that something isn't for you, nobody knows your body better than you do. No doctor can tell you any different.
Yeah, wise words. Thank you so much, Chrissy.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.